Hey there. Okay, let's do our next review, weekly review. And this is this week, which is a bit over trading, I think. But right away, I need to say again, all the trades were based from the same context. They were in one direction. And what we have here is loser, loser, minus 0.5, one more loser, and then a winner. Some break even, as you see, ran to 8R, but there was reason I wanted them to see higher, and like some looters to 2R, break even to 3R. So overall the trades were okay. Yes, some of them were definitely not necessary, but what's interesting is that here I checked, I risked 0.1, 0.15 on these trades, and then on this trade I risked 0.25%, and all of this helped me to close the week in a slight profit. But what I want to show, by the way, from this week and from the previous week is that so for me personally, I understood that I rarely have this sniper entry. So in real life, I need sometimes a re-entry, and so I have a zone, like, and then sometimes I will need to do 2-3 entries from a zone. This week showed it, and this week shows it as well. And again, you see, you can even have a lot of losers, and even this trade could be a loser, and even the next one. But if I was risking like 0.25% on each trade, yes, maybe this will be a drawn down week with 1.5 or maybe 1.25%. But even with this number of losers, like, actually nothing like really bad happens. So yes, some trades were lower quality, some trades were high quality, some trades were just stopping me out and then running without me. But it is what it is. Sometimes it happens because overall I didn't allow the market to stay longer in the zones. So anyway, let's go and analyze what we had during this week. Again, the bias is still exactly the same as from previous weeks. And 2 weeks ago, I shared more deep outlook for EURUSD. The only thing that changed is that, remember, so for those of you who looked through it, you already know that even though we had these two shifts on daily, we were mitigating inside this zone on 2 days, on 3 days, and this zone was really low quality. So overall, after this accumulation, after this shift on 4 hours, and then after this shift on daily, we became really bullish and just looking to take these longs again. What if, so there are still different possibilities for the market to go and different scenarios, because of course this can be, so this can easily be a mitigation of this weekly zone of some kind, or maybe some refined zone from monthly, and we can still be moving in a bearish bias. But and this all can be a redistribution of some kind, or maybe we will even change the trend here. So maybe next week we will do this and never even create a new high and then go there. But at this point we need to use, so we understand that different things can happen on higher time frame, but higher time frame is higher time frame. It's like a picture, yeah, but it's kind of just a draft. So we understand different things that can happen, but then we need to use lower time frames and these structures that we have currently to support the most probable bias at the moment. And the most probable bias of the moment specifically, and again, it didn't change here, we were bullish as well here, more than bearish. And because of this change, of this really clear move of everything I described in that video before, we kind of have a bit more probability to the bullish side. And so daily is bullish for hours. So my entries were there. So I think this is an entry from even previous week, because I don't remember it. Yeah, so it was from a previous week. So I just deleted, or maybe oh yeah, it was not an entry, it was just a markup from a previous week that I did with a student. Okay, but so what's changed here? We have some accumulation here and shift break of structure here. And basically, technically, this break came from this zone. So this is a zone on 2 hours as well. So on 2 hours, on 3 hours, this is all one structural shift. Yes, the zone is low quality, but this is a place where technically we had this break. And then, to be honest, I don't know why I have this zone. Maybe it's just a refinement from daily, but at this moment, I'm not interested in it. So again, what we had there, we have a break. So technically we have an impulse to the upside in an overall bullish context from daily, weekly. And basically, again, like during previous week, what I like about these entries, again, I don't like them all, as you will see, and some of them were definitely not necessary, but we are not entering from this zone. Yes, you see, it was possible to enter, but right now we already have a market that is moving up to clear target, and even at this moment we have enough space to move if we entered on 5 minutes. So for me it's like really clear bias. Of course we can break, but at the moment of a trade we have a lot of confluences. So we had 15 minutes confluence, 1 hour, 4 hour daily, so everything is moving bullish, and for me it's like clear entry. And you see on 1 hour, again, what's interesting is that we had these shifts of structure on 1 hour, which of course we need to understand that it's just a reaccumulation. So we have a break, and now we have 2 breaks to the downside. So you see, that is why we don't consider 2 breaks to the downside like an immediate trend change, because we need to combine the overall context and structural plays on lower time frames. And yeah, at this moment it was like harder to tell what the market would do. But then at this moment, when we broke this high, it's almost immediately we can understand that this previous price action was just a reaccumulation. And by the way, in the previous video about CHF GPY, I was using reaccumulation a bit, a lot, when it was a redistribution. I mean, I was showing redistribution, but just naming it reaccumulation just as a technical mistake. Not a technical mistake, I was just like telling different things. Okay, doesn't matter. And not only that, we also made this reaccumulation into a 4 hours zone. So it's also important fact to understand, into structural 4 hour zone. Okay, let me clean these brushes. So a bullish market moving really bullish and creating these breaks of structure. So at this point I was looking at this 30-minute structure, and again we have an overextended range on 30-minute, starting this inside structure building up and then eventually breaking this high, so breaking structural high. And we created pretty clear movement on 30-minute, on 15 minutes. So let's go back here and play the price. So again, this is what we have on 15-minute, like, so this is just obvious. So just clear breaks, some refinements, and one more break and refinement from here. So let's look for refinement. So you see these unmitigated parts of the zones. So this is what we have on 1 minute, just a zone, a refinement. And by the way, again, I will add soon this about the refinements, I think, but one of the main things when you are looking at refinement, you want your zone on lower time frames actually to do something. So I refine to this zone not only because it's unmitigated part of a high time frame zone that is visible on lower time, but because we actually have some break from this zone on lower time frames. So because of that, and because of it's clear and have some volume, I can refine. Okay, now what's interesting about this entries is that we had 15-minute break and London opening time, and as you can see, I was following this structure. And I was just looking at these breaks, structural breaks, and I had this refinement, but I never waited for it to hit, and I had one entry here. So we have, by the way, why I do have this break, it's really strange to me now, but probably it's just inside structure shift and entry from here, which turned out to be just a loser. So given the fact that we had a better zone here, and this is just New York Open, so remember, New York Open is good, but sometimes it's okay to enter, but like really nice moves happen like 1 hour, 1 hour 30 or 2 hours after New York Open. And then later the price tapped, and again, because of the refinement, because of how small it is compared to what I need for my entries, I was just entering here. And one more, it is a market maker candle, like a fakey. So if we combine these three candles, again, I need to record a video about it, but if we say that this is a candle with a close, and then you see this candle goes up and then next goes above this level. So we kind of seeing this fractal accumulation here happening. So this was my entry, but the entries were possible after this shifts of structure, and just like maybe from here, just straight from here if you protect yourself on the zone, or maybe you wait for this reaction and enter somewhere here. So anyway, this is an example of more direct entry, but it is supported by a really clear bias. The target for this entry was actually 1 to 20, because again, the bias was so clear, and I was just I understood that if the price wants to go up, and if it will break this, it will like really easily reach this point. And let me check my break-even levels. So probably here we can definitely go break-even, and definitely here. And I think because of the really small stop loss, it's already like 1 to 5. Yeah, it's 1 to 7, but it went even a bit higher. 1 to... It should have ran to 1 to 8, I think. No? Yeah, actually it ran to 1 to 8, and you see it's interesting how it moved. So initial push, then reaccumulation started to go up. So this is late New York, almost Asia, and I just left this trade to run overnight, thinking like maybe we'll just be here, then liquidate here and go up, but I never got what I wanted, and the price just went and tapped me out at break even. And just yeah, tapped me out at break even and started the move up immediately, making me, of course, like wondering what is happening, why this is happening to me, of course, and everyone is thinking the same, because it could be a common thing, but it happens because we are using zones that is interesting to the market, and sometimes it needs to come back to it, mitigate, and so on. Yeah, but by the way, you see, this is one more example of the liquidation of the Asian range. So this is Asian range. We are liquidating it, and then coming back, liquidating the other side. And it's an interesting pattern that I want to look a bit more into and to add into context. But yeah, to be honest, I expected this liquidation, but of course I hoped it will never reach my break even. Anyway, the bias continues to stay. We created one more 1 hour shift to the upside. So again, everything I said in the beginning is exactly the same, but now we added 1 hour shift to this pool of structure, pool of context. And I used some refinement. So to be honest, at this point, as you can see, I used a lot of zones. So for instance, if I have this zone, then I better not use it, because it's better just to use this one. So they are just too close to each other. And then I have some refinements here below, near the protected low. So again, our main structural range kind of that we are working off is this 1 hour, and this is the next day. So I was looking at the price and basically just waiting for some bullish shifts of structure. This is what I get, my bullish shift, my clear zone. Again, I really don't like what's happening here. It's like too many refinements, but it is what it is. I think this was instant loser. The time is New York Open, so yeah, instant loser. Then I'm waiting for this, enter straight from this refinement. At this point, went to stop loss, moved to here, like to 0.5, and I was stopped out there. So either here or a bit later. And then I used this zone again as a refinement. You see, so this trade was okay, but these two were kind of not necessary. So first of all, this one was made straight from the zone with no confirmation. This one as well. So, and we see that the market is really bearish, and it's easy to imagine that even if the zone wants to hold, the market can easily do this, like liquidate, and then goes up. And as you can see, my winner will happen exactly there. So again, we are coming back to the same thing, that if you want to catch an early entry, be prepared for liquidation, because the stop loss, so the stop losses I'm using, they are really easy targets for the market. So yeah, but again, risk management was like 0.1, 0.15 max for these trades. And this was one more loser. So we had, and these trades were really unnecessary. So you see, this is late New York already, so we are really close to Asian time. And yeah, looking back, I think I don't know, to be honest. These trades, to be honest, affected me, because I really hate when something like this happened from the previous day, is that I had a good trade that actually ran almost to 10R, then liquidated me exactly at break even, and then went almost to 15 or something like that. Yeah, like really had this situation. And but the buy still stand, the 1 hour is clear, and I just didn't want to miss the move. So this was a loser, as you can see, based on this 1 hour shift on this really clear zone. A loser, which again just liquidated me just a little bit, and then and then started a move from this shift. So we have one more shift to the upside, and the move started. So you see, building some kind of S&D chain here. At this point, I moved my stop loss to 0.5 like this, and then a bit later, so at this point, I moved to break even. Again, I was basically in the same situation. I was running in profit before Asia, and this is what this is my notes. Given the fact we are approaching rollover, it would be better to take what I have here and go. However, I decided to go break even and hold through the night, and basically this is what happened. So let's go to 5 minutes. Yeah, so you see Asian range starting to build up, and then so this still, so yeah, it's just liquidating again at my entry point, and started to go up. Like, I mean, what is happening? Yeah, and then news coming up. So this is the news that are moving against the overall bias. So again, you see the news, they don't change anything usually, and we are still moving in the same 1 hour range, just creating a lot of inside structure here. So after this news came out, oh yeah, and by the way, maybe I missed the news, or maybe I really don't know why I entered here. I don't remember now. So we definitely had this bullish move, but why I entered during the news? Maybe the news, now I remember, maybe they came out at 9 a.m. and just made this step into a zone. I said, okay, news came out, spread is okay, I'm entering here on this move up, and then they liquidated me. So this was the last loser for the week. And then later, this is what happened. So the news created kind of overextended range, and then started to build this inside structure with a bullish shift. So bullish shift of inside structure. And I said, okay, so we have really bullish bias, nothing changed. We just liquidated the Asian range with this news candle. We almost tapped into the last refined, so we could like make this refinement, I think, a bit bigger, yeah. So we kind of tapping into this last zone, and this is our protected low on 1 hour. So if the price again wants to move up and nothing changed, it should be moving up, then this could be the place. And yeah, price tapped into the zone of inside structure and started the move. At this point, I think maybe at this point I moved to 0.5 stop loss. Then at this point I moved to break even, protected by multiple structures. And here at this point, when the market created several consecutive shifts, I put this note that I'm expecting reaccumulation. Weak side is trying to fade the impulse. So we are kind of, at this moment, we were breaking the high. And at this point, of course, it's time for some reaccumulation happening, for some fading the impulse, taking counter trend trade. So at this point, we need to expect reaccumulation. And this is why I'm holding the trade. Yeah, why can we hold this trade longer? Yeah, because we understand how the market is moving, and we understand that we have 1 hour target here, 4 hour target here, and even if it will not take all the way to the 4 hours, the reaction is usually enough to give good RR trade. And again, based on my backtest, my experience, and my journal, I know that 5 RR is an easy kind of target for me if the market is moving. So, and this is what happened. The market really started a reaccumulation, as you can see, like not far away from my zone. But I don't know. At this point, I didn't watch the price. I just have my alerts at my break-even level, and then I let it all run, just checking some time, and then it went all the way up. So creating reaccumulation, and then still targeting this high. And then at this moment, I'm thinking, oh my God, what should I do? You know, like it's just a few pips away from my entry. But again, I know not only that my entries are reaching 5 RR usually. That's why MFE is so important. I know, and I will analyze soon, that when my trade is reaching 5 RR, then it will usually go even higher. So 5 RR is like a really minimalistic target for my trades that are running, because when it runs, it creates structure, it protects itself even for reaccumulation. And that's why I decided, okay, I kind of don't care, I want to hold to my target. It's realistic, it's probable, the structure is good, it's clear, it's protecting me. The time, so this is lunchtime, so I kind of expected some range. So this lunchtime between London and New York, but then we have all the New York to create even more movement to the upside. And that is why I waited, like feeling not very good after all these losers, but structure held, gave me my take profit, and went even higher as usual. And this is why I will soon analyze the journal, the last 60 trades. I already kind of got a quick look, and I understood that like if the market is going for 5R, almost I mean, in 90% it will go either to 8 or 10 R, and in 20% it will go to 15 or 20 R. So based on these numbers, maybe I will change a bit the management. So again, good risk management help to close this week in profit. And for US, I just wanted to track a bit US 100 again. Remember these trades from previous week or two. Where it is. So yeah, same range as from previous week. So during this week and during this week, we were long in US 100, just closing it a bit early there, but it went eventually to new structures. So again, we were long from this daily context. Again, just check the previous week if you want, and we're acting from this 4-hour shift of structure, long in here. And then, as you can see, the structure created new breaks and just started to hold, given some nice mitigations. And by the way, you see how it went, like move down, then move up, and then clean up of these first moves, mitigating deeper, and created even more structure. So overall, the bias was really nice, really correct. And not only that, now we are breaking this. So this is a weekly refinement, and of course we still continue to be bullish, and let's see how it develops. Just wanted to give this quick follow-up, how the structure is holding over weeks and days. Okay, this was a long one, and I hope it was useful. Well done if you stayed all the way down, and see you in the next week. Bye.